Oh man, it's a good day. We got Jason Knight in the shop teaching forged integral tomahawks. That's amazing. So he's in actually from his home in Tennessee. And then we've got axes that we're working on. And then we've got a family lunch coming up. So we actually get together with Jesse Edward Hoffman, and he puts together an epic lunch for us for a family lunch. We got glow rings this afternoon. We've got people in here for Makerspace, and we're setting up for a show tomorrow. Basically, we got an open house, hammer in, and the whole bit. So it's a good time for community here. Jason Knight is an American Bladesmith Society Master Smith. He's awesome. A lot of people know him from some time on Forged and Fired. He was a judge on there for a season. But beyond that, dude, he's just an epically cool dude. He's amazing. He's done everything from alligator hunting to just if you name it, he's done it. So he's got a lot of history.
My name is Jason Knight. I am a Master Bladesmith, teacher, designer, knife maker, wanderer, and amateur adventurer. We are forging Damascus integral tomahawks. So this is a version of a tomahawk that's pretty modern. The first one I saw was designed and made by Daniel Winkler of Boone, North Carolina. He's also a Master Bladesmith, famous for making tomahawks for a lot of special operations groups, different people in the SEAL teams or CAG or Dev Group, things like that. And I really loved his style, and I'm a student of his, I'm a friend of his, so I tried to figure out how to do it. Once I figured it out, I wanted to share it with other people. So I have a school in East Tennessee. It's called the Makers Forge Studio, but I like to wander around during the summertime, so I set up gigs and teach at other people's shop, like I'm here at KILROY'S. There's a renaissance in forging and bladesmithing and blacksmithing, and there's a lot of wrong ways to do it, but I like to share the right ways to do it because it's more simple and direct, and it makes this easier for people to understand, and it gives them something else to do. You know, it's not really something you can't go and do this for a business. This is really difficult work to do, but you can do it and have a good time doing it and make stuff, make knives, forge metal, and learn how things work.
This is awesome. Love seeing it. These guys are having a blast. Integral Damascus tomahawks with Jason Knight.
So right now they're quenching their blades and getting ready for heat treat. Quenching is the last step you do for the forging process that realigns all your stuff and makes it hard. And after you quench, then you temper, which lowers the hardness, because it's almost like glass. It's really, really hard, but really, really brittle. And so it lowers the hardness, but it also keeps it hard enough to where you can use it properly.
So these axes, actually, we're forging these things from round stock. We actually started off with Made in America 4140 steel. We got it from Western Forge. They used to make Craftsman hand tools. They went out of business, so we bought all their stock, and it's an amazing steel. Handles made by a friend of ours, Liam Hoffman, out of Tennessee. So even the handles are made in America, and then we forge them right here in our shop. And so we take them from these round pieces of metal all the way to finished product. And this is one of the pieces here. We even make the leather axe head covers right here in the shop. They're sold under All American Axes, $375, and one can be yours. So this is a forest axe. We're actually going to have multiple sizes. This is one of them.
Well, we got doing a lot of new things. We're getting ready to do some folding knives here in a couple months. We got about 5 or 6 different knives we're going to offer. Well, it's a great place to come. The people are very fun to work with, and we do a lot of different things here, and I enjoy doing them all. That's about it.
can go anywhere on this planet, United States, wherever, Russia, Germany, and forge, but you're not going to get gourmet burgers, Jason Knight, Shelly Knight come for my food. They just love it. They come all the way down. There is a real truth about this place that I don't necessarily find everywhere. The craftsmanship of this place, the brutal honesty of what it takes to make things. It's just something I've never experienced anywhere else.
The kinds of trade elements that are going on here in Kilroy's is really amazing. It's such a great opportunity for all these young guys and ladies to be here learning to make things with their hands and make product and make all of these wonderful knives and tools. And I think it's, in large part, there's a lot of these things that are almost a lost art until we bring this kind of a place like Kilroy's here to town, to have the opportunity for these guys to be able to learn beyond themselves, beyond school, and to see their own potential as they learn to make things with their hands. It's a great opportunity.
Always fun to have these open houses in here. Get everyone who's here throughout the week all in on one day. So it's kind of just a big party with everyone, old friends getting together, working on cool projects, and just getting to see what everyone's working on. It's really, really cool seeing all these young kids in here. We work with kids a lot, so we're used to having them in here. But some of these kids are just geniuses. The stuff that they come up with is amazing.
Here we go. End of a week. Got some quilted maple on there. Stained it brown. All nice and hardened. Works.
Yeah, so with an open house kind of a setup, it's people coming in, asking questions, kicking the tires a little bit, seeing if it's something that they want to do. But also they get to see what other people are doing. And it's really cool then to see some of these connections happen. People who might not ever cross paths normally, they get to come in here and then experience this thing together. So it's really neat to see the maker community come together.
I'm impressed with them, and they're taking the initiative to take advantage of a place here that they can come and learn and make stuff and have people to help them as they ask questions along the way. So it's really a cool spot. It's rare. I'd like to see more of it, but it's pretty beautiful. It's something that we need in our country. We need a nation of makers, people who can make a difference.
Something weird happened in this country about 40 years ago where people took their eye off of the trades and they thought college is it. You had to have a degree. White collar job was the place to be. Blue collar was looked down on, and it's so tragic. What we've done to it, not just in the schooling and the education system, and a lot of that is turning around. Thank you, Mike Rowe, for standing up for that. But in the psyche too, because people would think less of somebody who is in the trades, when in fact you got to just be brilliant to be good at it. And so I think what you see in the shop here and with the people who are here, it elevates that. It shows that it can be done in a different way, that this isn't something for just those who can't cut it. This is something that is for everybody. And I don't care if you go on and get your PhD, you still need to know which end of the hammer pounds in the nail, and you got to be able to run with that. You got to be able to manage your own household. You got to be able to work with your family and your kids and show them these life skills, and that's really what they are. They're life skills. So don't think of it just about being trades or white collar or whatever. This is life. And so seeing what these folks are doing in here, the young kids who are coming in here, we call them the remnant. These are the folks who are actually going to be able to go on and to make the things that our country is driven on. They're going to be able to lead their families in efficient ways and enjoy that. So that's really what it's about. We're leaving a group. We've got 10th group here with Wounded Warrior Project. They're in good hands with my instructors. I'm going to go to Atlas Prep Academy. We're going to go down there. We were invited by their shop teacher to come in and talk to the kids about welding. A lot of them have no experience with it, so we're going to just intro it, tell them what welding is, that it's a valid career path, it's a great career path, and what we've got for classes here, but also even just the wider world what they can experience if they go down the road of welding and work in the trade. So that's the next step. That's what we're going to go to right now. When did you start working here?
When did I start working here? This is going to be, I'm coming on to date year 6 with this school.
And now for Atlas, that's where we're at right now. What age ranges, what grade levels?
We are now full-fledged K through 12.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course, seniors are going to be between 17 and 18 years old.
Yeah.
You know, we'll build everything from the beginning stages of doing a birdhouse to all the way up to building a full set of furniture to cabinets.
And that's where you start. I mean, you don't start at the house. It's like when we're working in a metal shop and somebody wants to come in, starting with a Damascus sword. Well, we start off with a small thing, right? Here, forge a nail. So learning those fundamental skills, this is the place for it. And that's what drives me nuts about some of these programs being decimated. They lose the fundamentals, and then when you get out to the workforce, the HBA no doubt sees it. They're starting from not just zero, but they're starting at a negative because they've lost all this time of familiarity with the students. So
that's one of the reasons.
I love this program. That's awesome.
That's one of the reasons, Ron, I reached out to you is because I see the different trades that are out there, and I'm not just talking about electrical, plumbing, and framing. I'm talking about metalwork. Every bit of that is all a part of either industrial or the commercial side.
It crosses over completely.
So, you know, I have individuals who have been working all their lives, young children here that have done construction all their lives, that have moved into automotive, and I've encouraged that. But at the same time, they're getting some generalization working here, understanding the fractions, you know, understanding mathematics, how things operate. I'm going to go through a whole curriculum over here on electrical, just along electrical stages. Where does it generate? How does it get to the house? And so forth.
And the confidence builder that some of this stuff can have, right? So a kid might not be number one in their class or excel in another area, but they come in a shop and they're mechanically minded. I call them my active learners, where they just need hands-on. They can understand a tape measure and fractions on a tape measure different than how it is on paper. And so speaking in the terminology that they understand, all of a sudden they go from feeling less than to being brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yep, and they can succeed and excel. So
absolutely, I see that in the kids here. That even when I express to them that, you know, we don't want to be a part of that throwaway society. We want to be able to have something there and have the general knowledge that if something breaks, I don't need to throw it out. I can take time and I know the process to fix it.
Talking to a group of kids. We're going to talk to them about welding and the trades in general, and it's a great program here. And a lot of them, they might not have been exposed to certain things, and so we're going to be talking about what it is to be a welder, different types of careers in metallurgy and stuff like that too. So this is really just to expand their minds and think of the different things that you can do. So we are doing a modification. So we've got the mini knife design stuff that we're working on right now. So we're making some last minute tweaks. We got Blade Show coming up next week. So we're gonna get these things in print right away. We're doing these out of a mix between polycarb or bulletproof plastic and carbon fiber. Crazy tough stuff. And we want to make this the best design ever. So prototype for the Mini Hawk right here. There's actually a magnet on this side and a magnet on this side, and they repel each other. So instead of having the spring action inside there and the spring to fail, no spring to fail. What we're doing right now is we're modifying this to contour it around here, and it's going to have a sheller on the outside to protect it. So you can actually put your finger on there to depress that thing, and then you can draw your blades in there. This is the Mini Hawk. So this is a new product we developed here. I forged out the first one out of Damascus. This is 3D printed. This is 3D printed. And so everything made here right in our shop, and then we of course work on the blades here as well. So it's a hollow ground blade there with a false edge, and they're a blast to throw. nearly indestructible, completely indestructible, but nearly indestructible, and 3 times more heat resistant than G10, which is a really popular handle, and they fit on like that.
Well, today we've got shop class running in here. We got 16 kids ranging from ages 9 through 17. They're working on a variety of projects from small knives and spearheads through some decorative pendants and a few other things too. It's a really fun group. I love teaching the kids.
So it's awesome seeing all these kids in here on a Tuesday. A lot of these are returnees, so some of these kids have been coming in here for 3-4 semesters, if not longer. So you get to kind of see them grow up and see how they're doing.
Got this thing in, it's a 7 cubic foot shaker. So we put a bunch of different like rocks in there and stuff like that, different grits and things. And then we can toss Air Force Academy sabers in there, we can toss blades in there, all kinds of metal parts, and it'll sit there and shake and clean up the outside and polish it. Really pretty cool. This is just one part of it. It's actually got multiple pieces. This is a little giant power hammer, new addition to the shop, 25 pounds, made in 1926. We actually contacted the company and got the original bill of sale on this. It was made in Minnesota, right here in the United States. And it was sold to a catalog company in Minnesota and it went from there. Actually pretty much stayed in that Wisconsin, Minnesota area. The guy I bought it from just moved to Colorado, but he got it from his dad who lived in that Wisconsin, Minnesota range right through there over the years. So it stayed right close to home until now, but it's getting put back into use. Check this thing out. So we're doing these production mini hawks. We're doing a hollow grind, which means it's kind of cupped out, so you put it on a wheel. So instead of just doing one side at a time, we actually got this thing, and we just put this together. We haven't even tested it yet, but the idea is that these actually roll in opposite directions, and you come up from the bottom and grind both bevels at the same time. Obviously not with your fingers, but you put the steel up in there and then grind across, and you get both sides of that ground at the same time. So it's a much faster way to do this thing, and when you're in production, speed matters.
So what's going on right now is a semester-long shop class, and so these kids are anywhere between about 16 and 10 years old right now, and so what they're doing is they're running flat beads and T-joints and learning how to weld for the first time. And so this semester-long shop class is about 8 weeks long. It's going to be an intensive on blacksmithing, bladesmithing, and welding. Learning welding at a young age will really set them far in life because it's a skill that's really needed right now. The trades are kind of dying out, and so if these kids actually are serious about it and they get going on it, they could end up with a really good job that'll pay very well.
I'm working on some leather sheaths for some hatches that we're doing. Working on the initial design now. So I just finished dyeing. That's part of why this is so dark. So I need to let the dye dry, and then I'm going to do some final assembly on it. The holes are for the rivets and the snaps, and hopefully it fits. And then when we're done, this is kind of the design we're going for. We have the little flip here, lays off like that, goes on, and we have a snap here.
So one of the things that we're working with is we're working with the All-American Axe Company to make these axes. This is made in Texas steel. These handles are made by a buddy of mine in Tennessee, and then we forge out these axe heads and do the leather axe head covers right here at Kilroy's. So this is where the axes start. We've got these 15-foot bars of 3-inch round 4140 steel. That's like premium stuff. It's made in Texas, perfect for axes, hammers, things like that. We take those 15-foot bars over to our bandsaw and we cut 1 to 1.5 inch chunks of that, and then we forge that down into the axe head that you see on there.
So last year we made a batch of knives for a group called the Victor Marks Group, and they were legit high carbon knives with edges and points, and they loved them, but they came back and they said, the problem is we can't practice with sharp and pointy objects. And so what I did was I took those same knives and I went into a CAD software called Fusion 360, and I designed that same knife to the same specs, and we're now printing them with dulled edges and dulled points so that they can actually train with these knives. And so this is a PLA plastic, but yeah, they're printing now. They take a while to print, but they're fully solid, and we've already given them a batch and they really liked them and they use them, and it's really cool. We have tons of different companies that come to us now for all kinds of different things. So you see 3D printing, that's something that we're getting really into and getting pretty deep. But we also make custom axes for the All-American Axe Company. We're looking at possibly partnering with the Air Force Academy with some other things, and yeah, a lot of cool projects on the horizon.
So most of my teachers, out of the 23 employees I've got, 22 of them started off as students of mine. And so it's pretty neat to see them out there on the forge floor now, instructing some of the younger kids. They get to be mentors to them, so really neat to see. Every now and then we find some weird things in the shop, just unexpected, and you know, you think I'd know this place inside and out, but somebody sticks something in the corner, you never know. So we found this. Actually, it's a guy. I don't know what else, springs and stuff like that. And so people come up with some of the coolest designs out of here, though, things that I would never do as a class. And then they come up with something just absolutely amazing. It's a credit to the imagination that people have.